With everything, Father, that you and Mr. Ibrahim have discussed, I have a fundamental question. I would like to ask, is it possible for Christianity and Islam to coexist?
Okay.
It is possible if Christians have the upper hand and behave with wisdom and prudence. It wouldn't be possible if Muslims have the upper hand, because Islam teaches, it is an imperative, it is a part of the religion, the jihad imperative. You have to go and conquer when you can and subjugate the non-Muslim infidel. That's just part of the religion. It's all over the doctrines in the Quran, the Hadith, and that teaching has manifested itself, as we're discussing, throughout centuries of history, unwaveringly. So it's just like saying, you know, Muslims have to pray and fast and alms and zakat and go to Mecca. To many Muslims, jihad is considered the sixth pillar. But even if you don't give it that nomenclature, it's still a fundamental teaching of Islamic, of the Islamic worldview. And moreover, beyond that, it's not just the physical violence of jihad, it's this continuous teaching of having enmity for non-Muslims. Okay, this is all throughout the Quran. As I mentioned, calling on Muslims to to love Allah is you have to hate those who do not believe in Allah and fight and subjugate them. So Islam would have to be remade in order for it to live peacefully with others, or others are more powerful than it and they can keep it defanged and in a weakened state. So that's also possible. But for the religion itself, as I said, doctrinally, historically, it is made clear abundantly, unwaveringly, and continuously that no, it is hostile to the other. It is fundamentally tribalistic. Okay? The genius of Muhammad is that he took tribalism, which was part of his culture, 7th century Arabia, and he deified it. Okay, so now it's no longer, tribalism is what it is, and it's a negative force if you want to live amongst other people, diversity and all that, it's anathema to it. But he made it now, it's part of the religion. So tribalism, hating the other, preying off the other, subjugating the other, pleases God. It's not just a normal impulse that humans have and that we need to work on and suppress to become more universal with humans in a Christian sense, for example. It's been deified. So that's why I think tribalism is especially rife amongst Muslims and any other non-Western populations.
Okay. We have a question from our studio audience. Sir, where are you from?
I'm from Deering, Georgia.
Good to have you. Welcome. And what's your question?
My question is, Muhammad had a daughter whose name was Fatima. And then years later, when there was a Portuguese nobleman who married a princess, an Islamic princess whose name was also Fatima, and he loved her so much that he named the town he lived in Fatima, Portugal. Now, way up into the 20th century, Our Lady appears in Fatima and is calling Christians to repentance. Do you think maybe there will be in God's plan and through the intercession of the Blessed Mother, the Islamic peoples would maybe come back and reconvert to Christianity? Do you think there's a tie there?
Well, I know that there's a lot of conversions from Islam to Christianity, and they all have similar stories of dreams of Christ. So there's definitely something going on in the Muslim world with God and conversions, and I think that's excellent. But as far as the particulars of the Fatima in Portugal, I'll defer to the good father.
Yeah, it's what you said is correct, that it was a Portuguese nobleman who married a princess from a Muslim family. She became a Catholic. He named the town after her. It was called Fatima. Fatima is a common name among Muslim women because it was not only Muhammad's daughter, but it was a much beloved daughter.
Right.
And from her, she and her husband Ali, that's the beginning of the Shiite form of Islam, whereas his wife Aisha and a lot of her relatives were the source of the Sunnis.
Right.
They even fought against each other in battle. So That's all correct. And, you know, I do remember reading how the image of Our Lady of Fatima did catch a lot of attention of some, you know, Muslims, especially in India, where it's one of the largest Muslim populations in the world. A lot of folks don't realize, because we associate it with Hinduism, of course, but there's also an enormous population of Muslims there. And they're fascinated that it was Our Lady of Fatima. And they would sometimes ask about that. And in fact, I know in Lebanon and in Palestine, Muslim women will frequently go to shrines of the Blessed Mother. There's not... There's Egypt too, I think. And they'll ask Mary to pray for them. There's not much of a role for women. The Quran rarely doesn't describe what paradise for women is like. It's not clear. And so a number of Muslim women will go to Christian shrines of Our Lady to seek her prayer, especially if they're childless or a sick child or something. They don't become Christian, but they do seek her intercession.
That's very common.
We have